Hey guys, EC Network here, coming at you with another video. So last week, Tom Ashley was fired as president of Cartoon Network, and if you haven't heard about all this, there's a video that I'll leave in the card above of me discussing all these new changes that are coming to Cartoon Network. And in that video, I said that Kathleen Finch is the new president of Cartoon Network. Well, that is no longer true. That is no longer the case. In the statement that was released, in the statement that I had read, it stated that Kathleen Finch was taking over Tom Ashley's responsibilities. And while that is true, Kathleen Finch has decided to pretty much completely restructure the entirety of Warner Media's Kids, Young Adults, and Classic division, which is the division that Tom Ashley was in charge of before. So in this video today, we're going to be discussing all of these new changes that have been announced and who is the new president of Cartoon Network, because we do have that answer as well. So first and foremost, as I stated before, Kathleen Finch has completely restructured the Kids, Young Adults, and Classic divisions over at Warner Media. This big umbrella that I listed before is going to be broken up into three different groups: the Adult Swim and Cartoon Network team, the Turner Classic Movies team, and the Warner Brothers Animation and Cartoon Network Studios group. So at first glance, this is actually a really good thing. And the reason I say that is because now that these are three distinctive groups, these teams can focus on making sure each aspect of this, big umbrella that was the Young Adults, Kids, and Classics section before, they can now focus on each aspect of that to make sure they're all the best they could possibly be. So what do I mean by this? Well, there's an Adult Swim and Cartoon Network division, right? What are they in charge of? They're in charge of the scheduling, they're in charge of what programs get onto the network, and that's pretty much it. I'm sure there's other, things that they're responsible for as well, but that's going to be their main focus. They're not going to be the ones making the shows, because there's another department now called Warner Brothers Animation and Cartoon Network Studios. That team is going to be focused on making brand new original Cartoon Network series and also Warner Brothers series that will also be on Cartoon Network. And of course, there's the Turner Classic Movies section as well, which, relative to Cartoon Network, that's not as big of a deal. But now that Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, and the Warner Brothers Animation and Cartoon Network Studios departments are two separate groups, they can focus on making content when it comes to the animation department. They can make great shows that people of all ages can enjoy. And then the Adult Swim and Cartoon Network group can focus on making a good schedule, which is something that we all know Cartoon Network has been struggling with for years. We actually have a statement from Kathleen Finch on these different changes. Finch said that this is a less layered organization that will benefit from a more collaborative and strategic approach to how we schedule and market our content, which is what I just said before. They will now have much more of a focus on the schedule for Cartoon Network because that's its own department. Kathleen Finch goes on to say, with so many top networks in our portfolio, we have the ability to synchronize programming schedules across multiple brands and then market those networks in advantageous ways, strategically moving audiences from one tentpole to another and from one network to another in a seamless, coordinated fashion. So all in all, I think this is some pretty good news. I think we're going to see some big changes coming to Cartoon Network now, just because, like I stated before, there's three separate divisions instead of just being one broad division covering all of Cartoon Network, all of Adult Swim's, all of Warner Brothers Animation, Cartoon Network Studios, and Turner Classic Movies. Now they're all separate, so these people who are working in these departments can focus on those individual things as opposed to having their hands involved in everything. I think we're going to see more quality programming come out of Cartoon Network now. I think we're going to see a wide variety in programs on the schedule. Who knows what then happens to Cartoonito? Who knows what then happens to Boomerang as well? Because interestingly, it's the Adult Swim and Cartoon Network division, not the Adult Swim, Boomerang, and Cartoon Network division. But all might not be lost for Boomerang because they were actually mentioned in this press release as well. So as I stated before, there is a new president of Cartoon Network and his name is Michael Owaleen, and I'm sorry if I said that wrong, but Michael Owaleen was actually the interim president when Christina Miller first got fired. If you guys remember, Christina Miller was fired as president of Cartoon Network back in the summer of 2019, and during that time, they didn't have Tom Ashley take over. Tom Ashley didn't take over till July of 2020, almost a year later. In that time, Michael Owaleen was overseeing everything over at Cartoon Network. So currently, before being named the president of Cartoon Network, Michael Owaleen was the president of Adult Swim. Now he will be overseeing Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, and Boomerang. So as I said before, Boomerang is not forgotten in this statement because Michael Owaleen is now the president of all three of those networks. He is in charge of Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, and Boomerang. They're probably, the reason why it's not the Adult Swim, Cartoon Network, and Boomerang department, they're probably grouping Boomerang under the Cartoon Network umbrella, but he's going to be the new president of Cartoon Network and he will report directly to Kathleen Finch. I will have a video solely on Michael Owaleen and what we can expect from him. But one other thing I want to add before signing off is that Sam Register, who was the president of Cartoon Network Studios, is moving to become now part of the TV Studios group. Which the way they word this is a little bit confusing to me because they wrote Sam Register, who leads the Warner Brothers Animation and Cartoon Network Studios group, will now move to become part of the TV Studios group. So it sounds like he still is going to be in charge of Cartoon Network Studios, but now he's also in charge of Warner Brothers Animation while also becoming a part of this larger TV Studios group. It sounds like he's taking on a lot more responsibilities, at least from this statement. But yeah, those are all of the changes that we know about right now. And like I said before, I think this is actually a really good change because now they'll be able to focus on Cartoon Network. Just focus on your schedule, focus on your marketing, maybe acquire some cool programs. We'll handle all of the new development when it comes to Warner Brothers shows and your Cartoon Network originals. Don't worry about that. And obviously Cartoon Network Studios and the Warner Brothers group, they'll just focus on making good quality shows. I think this is a really good change and hopefully Cartoon Network takes a big turn because of this. Anyways, let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about all of this. What do you think about this whole situation where now the Kids, Young Adults, and Classics big group has been broken up into 3 smaller groups? Thanks for watching and I'll see you guys next time.